Hi, everybody. It's Miss Brooke, and today we're going to be doing lesson two for preparing to go to Hearst Castle. So today's lesson is about the difference between ancient Greek, and ancient Roman art. And today's lesson is called Know Thyself, which is just a fancy way of saying know yourself. So, the first question I wanted to ask you is why do you think that artists create art? From the earliest of times, people have created art. What do you think? And the second question I wanted to ask is what can we learn from ancient art? When we study ancient art, what can we learn from it? Well, we can learn their technological achievements, their cultural values and artistic standards. We can learn about their religious and historical beliefs. And we can get information about class, race, and gender. So, right now, we're going to be talking about the difference between Greek, here on the left, and Roman art. So, ancient Greek art's what we're going to be talking about first. And ancient Greek civilization thrived, which means it did well, for centuries, and art styles changed over with the culture over time. First thing we're going to be talking about is in classical Greek art, everything is symmetrical. So, symmetrical means when two halves are exactly the same shape and size, and they have perfect proportions. So in classical Greek art, everything was symmetrical, everything matched. Um, and also that humans were shown realistically. In other words, they looked like humans, but they were shown in a perfect form. Nobody was overweight. Nobody was underweight. Nobody was ugly. Everybody was perfect and beautiful. And also in classical Greek art, they showed one of the things that was shown was that the human body was considered beautiful. Therefore, everyone that was in a sculpture was a beautiful, perfect form. And as you'll notice as we get through, lots and lots and lots of the statues are nude. So those are some of the things that was shown in classical Greek art: symmetry and balance, but also a perfect form. And the two types of important Greek art are statues. You can see one right here, and vases. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about vases. In Hearst Castle, there's a great assortment of Greek vases. So we're going to be looking at some of those. So as you can see, vases, we think of vases as being simply for flowers. Or just decorative, but the Greeks had a lot of other uses for them. So these are the five types. There was the amphora, the crater, the oncho, the rhyton, and the arabelos. So these are for the different things. So right now I want you to think about which of these do you think is for mixing? Which of these do you think is for drinking? Which of these do you think is for food storage? And which of these do you think is for cosmetics or oil storage? So you can sort of look at them, look at their interesting shapes, look at which ones look larger. So this sort of vase was used for mixing, just like we would have a bowl or a mixer or a blender. They would do it manually, which means by hand, in this sort of vase. These were drinking vases. So you can see this one is tall and slender so that you could drink out of the very top. And this one is more short and stout so that you could just have a small cup in the same way that we would have a pitcher or a cup. This would be for food storage. Think of the ways that we store food either in our refrigerators or in our pantries. We store flour, we store cereal, we store sugar. This would be the sort of vase that they would use for food storage. And then this would be for cosmetics or oil storage, things like lotions and creams, in the same way that we would store these things in plastic containers. And the next question is, what are some of the ways that the ancient Greeks decorated vases? So let's look at some of the scenes. They decorated them with animals, geometric designs and patterns you can see on the bottom and on the top. They decorated them with battle scenes. In other words, great war battles were depicted on these vases. Everyday scenes. Look at this. You can see that it looks like they're picking apples, doesn't it? And storing them. That would be something that they would just do every day. And religious scenes would be another sort of thing that would be seen in the ancient Greek vases. So you can see the battles. And the picking of the apples. Next, we're going to be talking about, what does ancient Roman art look like? Well, a couple of aspects in ancient Roman art. First of all, ancient Roman art was a mixture of Italian style elements and Greek style elements. So it pulled from the ancient Greek style. Now, instead of showing all of the human beings as perfectly made and perfectly symmetrical and perfectly formed, and everybody's in good shape and is beautiful, ancient Roman art showed people as true to life. In other words, they looked like people. They had flaws. They weren't perfect. And this is something that we'll see. So it's a mixture of Italian and Greek styles, and it's true to life. Also, the two types of important Roman art are busts. So this is a bust. A statue would be head to toe, whereas a bust would only include the head or the head and shoulders. So a bust would be typically Roman. And also another sort of important type of Roman art would be a monument, a huge, huge monument, something that would be a column or a huge arch, or also a historical relief. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So looking at these are ancient Roman, in the ancient Roman style. And how can you tell? Let's just look at them. First of all, how can you tell that they're in the ancient Roman style and that they're not Greek? Well, let's sort of look at their faces. First of all, is it an entire statue? No, these are just busts. But I would say the most important thing that you can see is they're not perfect. They are not perfect specimens and lovely human beings. They have big noses and literally they have warts on them. So the two ways that you can tell when you look at these, that these are Roman instead of Greek, in the Roman style instead of in the Greek style, is that they are busts and that they're not perfect. This is a relief. Now, a relief is where you have some sort of a stone and it's carved into it. So if you ran your hands over this, you would be able to feel the scene as well. It jumps out at you. So this relief is carved into granite and it comes out. It's three-dimensional. Here's another relief. And it's carved into it by the grace of the emperor Titus Flavius. Publius Cornelius Jason sets up this to his father, Antonius Jason, in all directions. So it's a monument to his father. And look at this. This is another relief. Look how huge this column is. But when you look very, very closely, you can see that there are scenes carved into it that pop out. So let's look at these scenes. I want you to describe one of these scenes in 2 sentences. So we'll look at what's happening here. What's going on? Choose one of these reliefs and write 2 sentences about what you see. What's happening here? What's going on? Describe what you see. If you need to pause the video, this would be a good time to do it so you could write those 2 sentences. And then here are some monuments. They are huge, as you can see. This one is in Italy. As you can see, it is something that people could walk through on all sides. All right, now we're going to do a little test. Which is this? This is A. Which is this? Is it Greek or Roman? And then how do you know? This is A. This is B. Is it Greek or Roman? And how do you know? This is C. Is it Greek or Roman? And how do you know? This is D. Is it Greek or Roman? And how do you know? This is E. Is it Greek or Roman? And how do you know? And lastly, this is F. Is it Greek or Roman? And how do you know? All right, I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. I'm really, really excited about our upcoming virtual field trip to Hearst Castle, and I hope this has helped to prepare you.